Hey, what is up, guys? You're watching Epic Pokemon TCG. In today's video, guys, what I have for you, I'm going to be showing you a starting list for Dusknoir. Now, Dusknoir is one of the brand new cards coming out of Cosmic Eclipse, and it's actually a pretty fun one with its ability and the fact that like Dusclops can help you get it out a lot quicker than usual. And overall, I think it's a pretty cool deck, and I thought I would go ahead and cover it. So we're going to get right into it here, taking a look at Dusknoir. Has the ability Grim Marking. Now, essentially what this is pretty much spell tag. If this Pokemon is your active Pokemon and is knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack, you put 4 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like. And then it has Psy Up for 60, or Psych Up, I guess, whatever you want to say. Does 60, and then during your next turn, this Pokemon Psy attack does 60 more damage. I think that's Psych Up. I don't know. I'm just used to saying Psy Up. I don't know. But anyway, so essentially, if you get this out and you attack with it, next turn it's going to start doing 120, and you're pretty much just consistently getting a 120 every single turn. No, there's been a lot of confusion for some odd reason uh, with people thinking it would do 60, 120, 180, and just keep going, but that's not the case whatsoever because you're doing a base of 60, and then the effect says you're doing 60 more damage. So, that's something to factor in. So, yeah, if you want, I'm not trying to diss you if you think that's how it works, but it's not. I don't know. There's a lot of people that keep arguing that on the internet, and I just don't know why. But anyway, so essentially, this card, basically what you're going to be doing with it is you're going to be throwing a spell tag on the Dusknoir, and whenever it is knocked out, you pretty much just kind of get 8 damage counters to work with to throw on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like. Even with just the ability Grim Marking, the 4 damage counters, like spell tag is already a really handy card, and now that we have a Pokemon that pretty much has the ability of that built into it, is just really nice and really cool to work with. And the awesome thing about this is we have a Duskull here with Spirit-Born Evolution. Once during your turn before you attack, you may discard 3 cards from your hand, and if you do, search your deck for a card that evolves from this Pokemon, which would be Dusclops, of course, and you put it on this Pokemon to evolve it. This Duskull is pretty much just going to allow you to discard 3 cards from your hand. Yes, that can be a brutal, brutal, brutal thing to do, so that you want to be really smart about what you discard. But this will allow you to pretty much like turn 1, just get a Dusclops onto the field. Or if you can really sacrifice it, you can get 2 out. I mean, that's that's up to you, but still overall, I mean, turn 2, you can pretty much just get a Dusknoir out. You don't have to rely on rare candy. You just need like a searching card. You just need to draw into it, which is really helpful. And then Dusclops actually has a pretty helpful attack if you're able to use it in the right situation, which is Disable. Like if they've already used their GX attack and it's one of the cards that has like 2 attacks or something, you can just kind of get rid of it, which is really helpful, or you can just kind of screw up their plan for the next turn. Disable like won't be like the best thing ever, but it can still really like bring a very interesting situation up. And overall, like this deck's actually pretty cool. I thought it was like a neat idea. And another card we're going to be playing in here is going to be Cephalon from Cosmic Eclipse. Fireworks Bomb, put 4 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like. If your opponent has exactly 3 prize cards remaining, you put 12 damage counters on them instead. So if you just pretty much hold on to this bad boy and you're able to get it out, and like you just know one of your Pokemon's going to go down, because this deck's full of 1 prize attackers, basically what you can do is just kind of wait it out, and then as soon as they hit 3, you bring this up and you just really bring some mayhem down on it, and you can even throw a spell tag on this dude here. So that 12 damage counters, if they return KO you with something, just in that little short sequence, you're putting 16 damage counters essentially with its attack, and then of course the spell tag, which is really nice. And I thought Cephalon would be a really nice addition to this deck going alongside Dusknoir and just kind of see how it goes. But I think Cephalon is going to see some play in the next or the upcoming format because it's actually a really flexible and really nice card. And that 12 damage counters any way you like, that is just so big. And the next thing we're going to be taking a look at is going to be Mimikyu. So Mimikyu has the ability Shadowbox, and this is actually incredibly perfect with Dusknoir. Pokemon GX that have any damage counters on them, both your and your opponent has no abilities. You don't really play those in here. You can, but I just opted for a no GX attack deck. But to be honest with you guys, if you really want to throw some, GX Pokemon here, there's some very nice Psychic types you can throw in this deck. But basically, you can just kind of put damage counters on very specific Pokemon, so you don't have to worry about their abilities, which, Shadowbox will just cut that off, which is really nice. And then, of course, we're not going to be using Tail Trickery, but it's in here if you do need it. But yeah, Mimikyu is just in here. It's really nice because, Spell Tag and Dusknoir can just kind of put damage counters specifically on something to shut them off. And then we have Mew as bench barrier to kind of protect your Pokemon, and then Psy Power, put 3 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon anyway. Like this deck is all damage counters and just putting them on stuff, so that's really helpful. And then we're gonna round out the Pokemon with Jirachi. Stellar Wish is just in here, so that way you can kind of get some cards to your hand. The Duskull discarding stuff means you might be pitching resources, or you might be pitching very helpful cards, or maybe you can Stellar Wish for a card that you can discard out of your hand or something like that. Jirachi's just kind of in here to help you up the consistency and help your deck kind of, get going. So that's going to do it for the Pokemon. As for the supporter line, it's actually pretty generic. I'm kind of tweaking it. I was actually wanting to add in that new Rosa card potentially or something like that. But we have 4 Cynthia, then we have 4 Lily, and then we're going to round it out with a Brock's Grit. I just threw Brock's Grit in here because, well, you're honestly like the energy is like not too bad, but like you want to keep those Dusknoir going, and then like if you can, or if you had to pitch a Cephalon or something like that, that's an option. I pretty much just put it in here just in case, maybe I had to pitch something really crucial with my Duskull, or like I just want to keep those Dusknoir lines going or something like that. And then speaking of a recycling card, we have Lana's Fishing Rod. I originally had 3 in here, but I ended up cutting 1 for the Brock's Grit. You shuffle a Pokemon and a Pokemon tool card from your discard pile into your deck. So that means you can pretty much just grab a Dusknoir, or you can grab something and then you can grab another spell tag just to throw back onto your Pokemon. Lana's Fishing Rod's actually pretty nice, but I ended up cutting 1 for a Brock's Grit. Let's see. The next thing we're going to be taking a look at, I guess, is going to be the searching cards. We have 4 Mysterious Treasure and 3 Pokemon Communication. Mysterious Treasure can grab you absolutely everything in this deck except for Jirachi. And then on top of that, the Jirachis and Pokemon Communication are really helpful. If you have one Jirachi out on the field already, most of the time you won't be playing down another. So that means you can just Pokemon Communication the Jirachi back into your deck, search for a Dusknoir or something like that. And rare candy, even though yes, we can get the Dusclops out immediately with Duskull, we don't want to be using that ability every single time. And honestly, Dusknoir, you just rare candy a Duskull. I get those confused. Duskull, Dusclops, Dusknoir. Yeah. But anyway, if you have a Duskull out, you just rare candy, attach 1 psychic energy, bam, Dusknoir is ready to go. So rare candy definitely had to be a clutch card to throw in here. And then we also have Shrine of Punishment. I'm actually thinking about trying to up this to 3. And then another card that I'm really wanting to add in here is that Marshadow that allows you to, just get rid of a stadium. I think that would be really huge. I'm honestly highly recommending that. I actually might suggest that at the very start of the video in some text now that I'm thinking about it, because that card, with that new stadium that pretty much says whenever you play down another stadium to counter it, it gets discarded. I think that would be really helpful in this deck. That's something I'm going to add in here. So if you're watching this and you're at this point right here, add that in. But anyway, Shrine of Punishment is just going to help you put some more damage counters out on the field. Like I said, guys, this whole deck is damage counters, and Shrine of Punishment is just going to help you put a little more pressure out onto the field. Now, the Lana's Fishing Rod are really helpful, but I'm thinking, maybe you could probably cut them for something. I don't know. I really like the card in this deck. I just like having those like extra spell tags to work with, but you never know. And then we also have Switch. This allows you to switch your Pokemon out of the active spot. Dusknoir has a really high retreat cost that you might not want to be paying here with 3. So yeah, having some switching cards in here is really nice. And of course we have escape boards. That way we can throw that onto our Jirachi or our Duskull or our Cephalon. And then we have Great Catcher. You're placing all these damage counters down. You can really just start setting up some knockouts. And if you just have been laying down damage counters on a tag team Pokemon, you can Great Catcher one of those tag team GX up and take some prizes off of it. Great Catcher is a really good card in here. And I think that's really about it, besides, of course, Spell Tag. I mean, Spell Tag, when the Psychic Pokemon this card is attached to is knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack, you put 4 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like. So you have an active Dusknoir with a Spell Tag, it gets knocked out. Like I said, guys, that's 8 damage counters you get to spread around on the field however you want. It's extremely helpful there. And then, of course, we have 10 Psychic Energy to round out the deck. I just opted for 10 because I wanted to make sure I was, kind of shifted on energy. But to be honest with you guys, you could probably cut one of the energy for a Marshadow, or you can cut one of the energy for a Shrine of Punishment. Since you do have the Brock's Grit, that's definitely up to you guys. I've actually been thinking about tweaking this list and cutting out 2 energy, and then adding the Marshadow and the 3rd Shrine of Punishment in here, just to kind of see how that goes. So yeah, that's definitely an option. But anyway, like I said, guys, this is a starting list. You can take this deck and tweak it however you want. I highly recommend the Marshadow that allows you to discard a stadium. That is a super helpful card, just because I think it's Chaos Swell or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, it's that new stadium that came out that's in the what is it, ADP? Is that what people are calling that deck? ADP? I don't know. But yeah, so that's something I recommend. But thank you guys all so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy the video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and as I'm checking this right now, I am 70 away from 1,000. So I'm hoping to really hit that here soon. But I apologize for being away for a week, guys. I have been completely just like bleh on what I want to upload, and I've been tweaking lists and stuff. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. I love you, and as always, guys, this is Epic Pokemon TCG signing out.
Don't forget to like, follow, and obey.